Princess Peach Showtime got a brand new trailer yesterday via Twitter, because Nintendo's doing like their Twitter Direct right now, dropping everything, and they showcased some new transformations for Peach along with some gameplay as well for Ninja Peach and even Cowgirl Peach. And there's even extended gameplay on all the transformations that we've seen already, and I'll show that to you in a second and kind of, decipher what's new with them and kind of break them down. But there's also some hidden transformations that Nintendo didn't necessarily show us, but they were in the background that we can actually find and scour for. If you're excited to learn some new information and potentially brand new transformations for Princess Peach Showtime, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, as a lot of you guys watching this video right now are not yet subscribed. But thank you so much for tuning in, and let's jump into the video. The first thing we get to see is Ninja Peach, and in this first clip you can see her kind of crawling through the grass, and she puts up two like little cardboard pieces of grass to hide behind before she sneaks up on the enemy. I guess if you hold these things up in the grass or something, you can't be seen, but she sneaks up on the enemy and dashes through him with a dash attack to get a coin. We then get a scene with her wall jumping in a 2D section as she's going back and forth collecting coins in order to get to the top of the wall. There also seems to be some type of green flower or star she's trying to collect, and maybe that's like the end of the level where she has to collect that to finish, or maybe it's just a different type of collectible. In fact, we actually see this again in another scene. You can see when Peach gets on the pedestal, the scenery switches, and as it switches, you can see between two cardboard cutouts of rocks that there is that green star. So it's probably just a collectible for each world. There might be like 2 or 3 for each world that you need to collect, which is good for completionists. Then see Peach walking against the side of the castle wall with a cloak that blends her into the pattern on the wall, and then she uses her dash attack to take out the knight. In the next scene, she's creeping underwater with a bamboo pipe to breathe while she's under there. So she's just creeping under the water, I guess, to eventually do an attack on the guard that's sitting outside of the water. Then see after Peach wall jumps to the top, she then runs on the back wall as she collects coins and even a heart, so it shows that there might be some sort of life meter where Peach can actually take damage, where at first it didn't seem like the type of game where you'd necessarily die, kind of along the lines of a Kirby's Epic Yarn. Then have a scene where Peach can grab and swing on pegs on the side of the wall in a 2D scene, and she can actually dash through the air in order to take out enemies as she takes out some type of evil crow and drops the enemy down to the ground. Then we see a scene of Peach riding a giant wave, and I guess she's in control of making it rise and lower, as you can see her lift her hand at certain intervals, so it's probably like a side scroller where you're just raising it and really not doing a whole lot. Next up, we have Cowgirl Peach with her lasso. The first scene shows Peach throwing her lasso at enemies and pretty much rounding them up and then tossing them off into the background. Then we see a scene of Peach riding a horse as she still has her lasso in hand, probably has to get close enough as she's jumping over gaps in order to lasso the enemies in front of her on their horses. You can also see the enemies do have guns of their own, so I wonder if Peach will get one as well in this scene. It seems like each individual transformation for Princess Peach has tons of different gameplay value, which is really cool. In the extended gameplay, we can see a saloon town, and you can see one of those green glowing stars in the background behind the barrels as well to collect. And there's a scene of the bad guys running away with gems. This is probably where Peach gets on her horse in order to chase them. We also have a clip of Peach wrangling up some of the NPC characters in order to get them out of the barrels and free them and throw them on the table in the background. In the background at the top, you can also see a big cowboy enemy with 2 boxes of gems beside him as well, which will eventually be a big enemy or even a boss for her to fight. Then we get a scene of Peach riding that horse once again, and you can actually see her lasso the enemy in front of her and pull him off of his horse. And for a quick second, we can see another green star that's trapped in a case on one of the horses that's riding away, so you'll probably have to get that horse specifically to get the bonus collectible. Then we have a scene of Peach fighting that giant cowboy enemy, which might be the boss of this area, and he wields himself a pretty big gun. I really wish Peach had a gun in these scenes, but I guess they wanted to just keep her with the lasso, which is fine. We get a couple of new scenes with Sword Fighter Peach as she twirls straight up into the air and like a corkscrew, and she also does like a little backflip kick to hit the enemies behind her. And then we see the scene again where she's fighting that giant flower boss, and she actually does a counter dodge over its shockwave that it leaves in order to bounce off of its head. She then drops its spike protection and opens up the entire bud, allowing Peach to hit it with multiple combos. Now with the extended gameplay, we can see Peach do another upwards twirl spin, and she actually takes out one of the giant purple vines from that plant boss. Also, look, a green star again. I'm sorry, I'm pointing these out every time. And probably my favorite part is the counters from Peach. You can actually counter every single sword attack and do a follow-up right after, which seems to be a different animation almost every single scene we see. There's so much fluidity and so much variety in her attacks. This is probably going to be one of my favorite transformations. Then see her parry a giant hammer attack from a big knight, and she flips on the other side of him in order to take him out from the other side. It also seems like every time you finish a level, Peach will do a little animation towards the crowd at the end. Next we have Detective Peach, which they're kind of keeping behind closed doors. It's just scenes of her walking around with her magnifying glass, talking to NPCs, and getting notes written down. And they're probably not showing a lot of this because there's not a lot for you to see. You just got to kind of play it. And if they show too much, they'll kind of spoil how you solve the mystery for that scene, so I completely understand that. So there's not really a lot to unpack or uncover here. There's just lots of scenes of Peach, like I said, talking to people and just looking at all the objects in the museum and trying to solve what happened, following footsteps and all that. Next up we have Patissiere Peach. It looks like it's going to put you in a mini gauntlet of making tons of sweets and foods with different little mini games to complete in a certain amount of time. The first one has her whipping up some type of dessert in a bowl as tons of sweets and cookies pop out when she's done. And in the next scene you can see that she has to decorate a cake, and you can see the picture at the top right as to what the cake actually looks like, and I guess it's your job to drop the toppings and also the icing onto the cake perfectly as well within the time limit. In the extended footage we can see Peach walking up to transform, and she's in kind of a bakery where you can see all the ingredients below her and even a cookbook behind her. We also get an extended scene of her holding those cookies that she actually made, and she puts them on a cart that comes by in the background. We then see her decorating yet again another cake as she has to make a circle of icing on a lemon yellow star-shaped cake, which is pretty cool. As someone who loves lemon flavored anything, this looks magnificent. And then we have Kung Fu Peach. We see another scene of her jumping on these pegs in order to take out the enemies and collect these blue crystals, and a scene of her twirling around a pole in order to kick all the enemies off the screen. And in the extended footage we can see the bad guy that she has to reach far off in the background, and based on the gameplay it looks like Peach is going to be doing a lot of kicking as she kicks one enemy all the way through the other line of enemies as well. We then get more footage of her kicking more things, including furniture like tables and chairs at the enemies. Yeah, she's not playing around. She's literally kicking everything that's on the scene itself. You even see her kick an enemy straight in the head as she jumps from one peg to the other. It's kind of brutal if you think about it. Like, that's a hard kick. Then we see Peach fighting that boss we saw earlier, and it seems like you have to press the button as the circle gets small. It's kind of like a timed button press mini game. After she kicks him far off into the background, she does a nice little pose at the end. Like, she's not afraid to flex on him. Now, that's it for the gameplay, but we do get a poster of the giant building that Peach is going to be in, with posters on the wall of that building that showcase all the films and movies and shows that are going to be in these plays that Peach actually gets to participate in. So it gives us a pretty good idea as to what else to expect, because there seems to be even more transformations, and we can even make out some of them. Let's start off with the first section. Some people told me the far left one was just Kung Fu Peach, but for some reason I saw a pirate character. It looks like he's wearing pirate clothes with a pirate hat as well, but he does look like he's getting ready to punch and kick somebody. So that could be Kung Fu Peach. Maybe there's a pirate Peach, it's hard to tell. We see the ninja one next to that. It looks like the NPC character is in some sort of water area, and somebody actually brought up that it could be related to a mermaid transformation. So maybe Peach turns into some type of underwater mermaid, because we haven't really seen anything with water so far. And then the last one shows some type of top-hatted hero gliding through the sky with some type of paper airplane glider at night over the city. Now, what this reminded me of was some type of city hero like Batman, or the Scrooge McDuck's superhero alter ego, which was the masked top hat. So maybe Peach is some type of masked hero helping people in this nighttime city, maybe even similar to Zorro or something along those lines. For this next area, we have the Patissiere Peach and the Detective Peach, but there's two new ones here as well. One has a character staring up a giant skyscraper, which apparently seems to be wearing some type of hat. I have no clue what this could be, and honestly the only thing I could potentially think of is maybe some type of like parkour Peach, or maybe she's like business Peach where she's working in an office and something happens. It's really hard to tell with this one. It's just a giant tower, it looks like at sunset. And then the last one shows some type of futuristic superhero, so I'm thinking something like a futuristic action hero or something along the lines of Samus, some type of spacesuit, maybe she has a laser gun or something along those lines. I think it's going to be pretty cool. And for the last two posters, one shows a night-themed area, which obviously is Sword Fighter Peach. And the last one shows what looks to be some type of figure skater, as there's a giant ice rink, and we get a better image in some of the past trailers that shows us, yes, it's probably going to be some type of figure skating Peach, which, believe it or not, we've seen before in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. So yeah, there is a lot here, and that seems to be generally everything that we can see so far. There's probably some more little hidden details here and there, but yeah, I am wondering what other transformations we're going to get, especially that final one. I'm sure is going to be really interesting. I also want to note there's some smaller posters scattered throughout along the bottom as well, and I think one is like a Cowgirl Peach, but the rest, there's just like literally no way I can make out what they are. Real quick before you head out, we also have a longer intro now that we can actually see kind of what happens. We get to see Peach's castle, which is literally like a one-to-one recreation of the castle from Super Mario Odyssey. And yeah, you get to actually see the scene of Peach losing her crown and it flying off in the background along with the toads. So yeah, that's pretty much it though. Definitely let me know what you think about all these brand new trailers and scenes for Princess Peach Showtime. Does it make you more excited? Does it make you less excited? Are you interested in the more transformations that could be coming? Let me know down below, and thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It helps out more than you think, and I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.